I found the pieces on my bed at 7 in the morning, one day before my wedding. Not torn, not stained, not accidentally damaged. Cut. Deliberately, methodically, viciously cut into sections so precise they could only have been made with scissors held by steady, furious hands. The bodice lay separated from the skirt. The sleeves had been removed entirely. The train, the beautiful cathedral-length train I'd saved for months to afford, was shredded into ribbons. I stood there in my childhood bedroom, barefoot on the carpet I'd walked across 1,000 times, staring at what remained of the dress I was supposed to wear tomorrow. My hands didn't shake. My breathing stayed even. Years of training had taught me how to compartmentalize, how to assess a crisis without letting emotion cloud judgment. But inside, something cracked. I heard footsteps in the hallway. Light, quick, familiar. My older sister Rachel appeared in the doorway, coffee mug in hand, face carefully arranged into an expression of shock that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Oh my God," she said, voice high and thin. "What happened?" I turned to look at her, really look at her. The way her fingers gripped the mug just a little too tight. The way her gaze skittered away from mine after only a second. The way she stood in the doorway instead of rushing in to help. "You tell me," I said quietly. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. "I have no idea. Maybe it was mice? Or maybe it got caught on something?" "Mice," I repeated, with scissors. Her face flushed. "I don't know what you're implying." I picked up one of the pieces. The cut was clean, straight, intentional. I held it up so she could see. "This wasn't an accident, Rachel." She set her coffee mug down on my dresser with a sharp click. Her whole demeanor shifted. The false shock melted away, replaced by something colder, harder. "You know what?" she said. "Maybe you deserved it." The words hung in the air between us like smoke. "Excuse me?" Her laugh was bitter. "You heard me. You with your perfect life. Your perfect fiancé, your perfect everything. Do you have any idea what it's like to watch you coast through life while the rest of us struggle?" "I haven't coasted through anything." "Oh, please." She crossed her arms. "You've always been the favorite, always been the golden child. And now you get to have this fairy tale wedding while I'm still picking up the pieces of my life after Marcus." Marcus. Her ex-fiancé who'd drained her savings account and disappeared 2 years ago. I'd helped her file the police report. I'd sat with her while she cried. I'd loaned her money she never paid back. "What happened with Marcus was terrible," I said carefully. "But it has nothing to do with me getting married. It has everything to do with it." Her voice rose. "You don't get to be happy while I'm miserable. You don't get to have everything when I have nothing. So you cut my dress." She didn't deny it. She just stared at me with eyes full of resentment I'd apparently never seen before. Or maybe had chosen not to see. I heard more footsteps, heavier ones. My father appeared behind Rachel, my mother right beside him. "What's all the shouting about?" Dad asked. I held up the piece of dress. Rachel cut my wedding dress. All of it, the day before my ceremony. My mother's hand flew to her mouth, but the gesture felt performative. Rehearsed. My father barely glanced at the fabric. "I'm sure it was an accident." "An accident," I repeated, my voice flat. Rachel probably just wanted to look at it, and something happened. Mom's tone was soothing, placating, the same tone she'd used my entire childhood whenever Rachel did something wrong, and I was expected to forgive and forget. I looked at my sister. She had tears in her eyes now, but they felt manufactured. Strategic. "I was just trying to help," Rachel whispered. "I wanted to see if I could fix a loose thread and it slipped." My father nodded immediately. "See? An accident. These things happen." I felt something inside me go very still and very cold. "No," I said. My mother blinked. "What?" "No," I repeated the word with absolute clarity. "She didn't accidentally cut my dress. She destroyed it on purpose out of jealousy, and you both know it." "That's a terrible thing to accuse your sister of," Dad said, his voice hardening. "It's the truth. Rachel's always been there for you," Mom added quickly. "After everything she's been through, you should be more understanding." I've been understanding for 2 years. I've been supportive and patient and helpful, and none of that changes what she did. My father stepped into the room fully now, his presence meant to intimidate. "You're being dramatic. It's just a dress. We'll get you another one." "Just a dress?" I said softly. "The one I saved for? The one I chose? The one that was supposed to be mine tomorrow?" "We'll pay for a new one," Mom said. "Problem solved. The wedding is tomorrow. There's no time. Then wear something else." My father waved his hand dismissively. "You're making a mountain out of a molehill." I looked at the three of them standing in my doorway, my sister with her fake tears, my mother with her enabling smile, my father with his complete dismissal of my feelings, and I realized something I should have understood years ago. They would always choose her, always protect her, always excuse her, no matter what she did, no matter how much it hurt me. Rachel sniffled loudly. "I can't believe you're trying to ruin my relationship with Mom and Dad over a dress." "I'm not ruining anything," I said. "You already did that yourself? How can you be so selfish?" Mom's voice cracked with manufactured pain. "Your sister is going through so much, and all you can think about is yourself. I've thought about everyone else my entire life," I said quietly. "I've been understanding and accommodating and patient. I've made myself smaller so Rachel could feel bigger. And this is what it got me." "Your sister needs support right now," Dad said firmly, "not accusations. My sister needs consequences." Rachel let out a sob. "See? She's being cruel." I looked at her. Really looked at her. At the woman who'd once been my best friend when we were kids, before jealousy and bitterness had poisoned everything between us. "I'm done," I said. "Done with what?" Mom asked nervously. "Done pretending this is normal. Done accepting that I'm expected to sacrifice my happiness to protect Rachel's feelings. Done with all of it." "You're overreacting," Dad said. "Then I'll overreact somewhere else." I grabbed my phone and my keys. I walked past them without another word, down the stairs, out the front door. Behind me, I heard Rachel say, "See what she's like?" Always has to make everything about her, and my parents said nothing to contradict her. I drove to my fiancé Ethan's apartment with my jaw clenched and my eyes burning. When he opened the door and saw my face, he pulled me inside immediately. "What happened?" I told him everything. The dress, Rachel's confession, my parents' response. He listened without interrupting, his hand on my back, steady and warm. When I finished, he said, "I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do." I whispered, "The wedding is tomorrow." He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Do you still want to marry me?" "Of course." "Then we'll figure it out." He squeezed my hand. "We always do." I took a shaky breath. "There's something I need to tell you, something I haven't told my family yet because I wanted to wait until after the wedding." "Okay, I got promoted again. Last week?" "The paperwork just came through." He smiled. "That's incredible." "It's not just incredible," I said. "It's significant." His eyebrows rose. "How significant?" "I'm now one of the youngest women to reach this rank in my branch. It comes with responsibilities, visibility, and a ceremony next month at the Pentagon." His eyes widened. "The Pentagon?" I nodded. "My family doesn't know. They've never understood my career. They think I shuffle papers somewhere. They don't know what I actually do or what I've accomplished. So they have no idea. None." He was quiet for a beat. Then he said, "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking," I said slowly, "that maybe it's time they found out." The next morning, the morning of my wedding, I arrived at the church early. I'd spent the night at a hotel, not at home. I hadn't answered any of my family's calls. I'd made arrangements, special arrangements. When I walked into the dressing room, I wasn't wearing a replacement dress. I was wearing my dress uniform, full ceremonial. Every ribbon, every medal, every insignia perfectly placed. My hair was regulation. My cover sat at the precise angle. My shoes were polished to a mirror shine. I looked like exactly what I was. Ethan saw me first. His eyes went wide, then soft with pride. "You're sure?" he asked quietly. "I'm sure." The guests began to arrive. I watched through a crack in the door as my parents and Rachel walked in, looking around nervously, probably wondering where I was. The music started, the processional began, and I stepped out. The reaction was immediate. Heads turned, whispers erupted. My family's section went completely silent. I walked down the aisle alone, spine straight. head high, with the kind of bearing that had been drilled into me through years of service. My father's face went white. My mother's mouth fell open. Rachel stared like she'd never seen me before. Because she hadn't. Not really. They'd never seen this version of me. As I passed their row, I didn't look at them. I looked straight ahead, at Ethan waiting for me with tears in his eyes. But I heard Rachel whisper, "What is she wearing?" And I heard my father mutter, "I don't understand." Behind me, I heard another voice, older, distinguished. "That's a Navy uniform, dress blues. Those aren't just decorations. Those are commendations. Look at the rank insignia." "What rank?" someone asked, my father's voice, strangled. "That can't be right." "Commander," the older voice confirmed. "She's a commander, and those ribbons, those are serious. Meritorious service, joint service achievement, Navy and Marine Corps commendation. That's not someone who shuffles papers." The whispers spread like wildfire through the church. I reached the altar. Ethan took my hands. He whispered, "You're magnificent." The ceremony began. The officiant spoke about commitment, about respect, about choosing to build a life with someone who sees you fully. I felt my family's eyes burning into my back. When we reached the vows, Ethan went first. His voice was strong and clear. "I vow to honor not just the woman you are, but everything you've accomplished. I vow to stand beside you, not in front of you. I vow to be worthy of the strength you've shown me every single day." My throat tightened. I took a breath. I vow to bring the same courage to this marriage that I bring to everything else in my life. I vow to be honest, even when it's hard. I vow to protect what we're building together. The officiant smiled. "By the power vested in me." "Wait." My father's voice cut through the church. Everyone turned. He was standing, face red, hands shaking. The officiant frowned. "Sir, this isn't appropriate. I need to speak to my daughter." I turned slowly, my expression neutral. "What is it, Dad?" He seemed to realize suddenly that he was standing in front of 100 people with no idea what to say. You're in the military?" "Navy, for 12 years. But you never said. You never asked." My mother stood now too, her voice trembling. "All those times you said you had work obligations." "I did have work obligations. They just weren't the kind you imagined." Rachel's face was pale. "You're a commander?" "I am." My father shook his head like he could reset reality. "But that would mean you outrank most people." "I outrank a lot of people, yes." The church was silent. Everyone waited. "You let me think," my father said slowly, "that you had some minor position, some administrative job. I didn't let you think anything. You assumed, and you never cared enough to ask for details." My mother's eyes filled with tears. Real ones this time, if we'd known. "What?" I asked. "You would have treated me differently. You would have cared more. You would have protected my wedding dress." "Rachel," Dad said sharply, turning to my sister. "Did you know?" She shook her head mutely. "I didn't tell anyone," I said, "because I wanted to see if my family could love me for who I am, not what I've achieved. Turns out they couldn't even do that." "We're proud of you," Mom said desperately. "Now you are. Yesterday you were defending the person who destroyed something important to me out of spite." My father looked like he'd been punched. We didn't understand. "No?" I said. "You didn't want to understand. There's a difference." Rachel stood now too, her face crumbling. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. If I'd known." "Would it have mattered?" I asked. "Should it have mattered?" She had no answer. The officiant cleared his throat gently. "Perhaps we should continue the ceremony." I turned back to Ethan. He squeezed my hands. "Together?" he whispered. "Together." The officiant concluded the ceremony quickly. When he pronounced us married, the church erupted in applause. But it was muted, awkward, everyone aware of the tension still crackling through the air. At the reception, my family approached hesitantly. They looked smaller somehow, diminished. My father spoke first. "I owe you an apology." "Yes," I said. "You do? We should have believed you yesterday. We should have supported you. We should have." He trailed off. "You should have seen me," I finished, not just as Rachel's little sister, not just as someone to manage or dismiss, as a person worthy of respect. My mother was crying openly now. We're so sorry, we're so ashamed. Rachel stepped forward, her face blotchy and red. I destroyed your dress because I was jealous, because you seemed to have everything and I had nothing. But I was wrong. You worked for everything you have. You earned it. And I tried to take it from you because I couldn't stand seeing you happy. Her voice broke. I'm a terrible sister, and I'm sorry. I'm so, so sorry. I looked at the three of them, broken, regretful. Finally seeing me. I can't forgive you today, I said quietly. Maybe not for a long time. We understand, Dad said. But, I continued, I'm willing to try. Eventually, if you're willing to actually change, to actually see me, to actually respect the choices I've made with my life. My mother nodded frantically. We will, we promise. Rachel reached out, then stopped herself. I know I don't deserve another chance, but if you're ever willing, I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be the sister you deserved all along. I didn't reach for her hand, but I didn't turn away either. Time, I said, and therapy, and actual effort. Whatever it takes, she whispered. Ethan appeared beside me, his hand settling on my lower back. Everything okay? I looked at him, at his steady eyes and his quiet strength and his absolute certainty in me. Yeah, I said. Everything's okay. My family stepped back, giving us space. Around us, the reception continued. Friends congratulated us. Colleagues shook Ethan's hand and saluted me with warm respect. One of my mentors, a woman who'd paved the way for people like me, pulled me aside. Proud of you, she said. Not just for the rank, for standing your ground. Thank you, ma'am. She smiled. You're going to do great things. Already are. Later, as Ethan and I danced, he whispered, Any regrets? About marrying you? Never. About the uniform? I glanced over at my family sitting together at their table, talking quietly, seriously, like people who'd just had their world turned inside out. No regrets, I said. They needed to see this version of me, the real version. Think they learned? I think they're starting to. He pulled me closer. For what it's worth, I've always seen you. All of you. I know, I whispered. That's why I'm marrying you. The song ended. Another began. Around us, people laughed and celebrated and toasted to new beginnings. And for the first time in days, maybe years, I felt light. Not because my family had finally understood, not because they'd apologized, but because I'd stood in front of everyone I knew wearing exactly who I was, and I hadn't flinched. That night, after the reception ended and the guests went home and Ethan and I were finally alone, he asked, What happens now? Now, I said, we build the life we want, on our terms, with people who see us. And your family? I'll give them a chance, one chance, but I won't sacrifice myself to make them comfortable ever again. He kissed my forehead. That's my girl. 3 months later, my family attended my Pentagon ceremony. They sat in the back, quiet and attentive. Afterward, my father shook my hand with something that looked like genuine respect. I'm trying, he said. We all are. I can see that. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't a fairy tale reconciliation, but it was real and honest. And maybe, eventually, it would be enough. Because some things can't be uncut, can't be unmade, but they can be remade into something different, something stronger, something true. Thank you, my loves, for watching until the end of the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the newest videos.